means to be conscious. We can't be Krishna conscious without being conscious. And we can't be conscious without being God conscious. So that's what Bhagavad Gita is all about. Krishna is telling Arjuna so many different places. Just perform your activity and be conscious of me. Tasmat saveshu kaleshu muhammadu smadanyuja maya patamano buddhir mama vashyasya samshaya. Even he's sending them out to the battlefield. Take your arrows, shoot, Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, your loved ones. Do your duty, be conscious of me. So maybe we can take that hint, that's two. If the third one goes off, it will explode. So please everyone turn the phones off. I shouldn't have said explosion. I didn't mean that. But, yeah. So just think about it, okay? Just think about it. Other kids came in and chanted so beautifully. And what if somebody would have come and stuck his head through the door with a gun? It's possible. It's not that far away. Right? Yudhishthira Maharaj was tested by Yamaraj, in Mahabharata, right? He said, what is the most amazing, he asked so many questions. One time he asked, what is the most amazing, wonderful thing? Acharya. Anyone remember what he said? Anyone besides our pundit?
He or she thinks he's not going to die.
Right, that's the second half. What's the first half? That everyone around us, we see day in, day out, is falling down like flies, dying. And yet, we're thinking, it's not going to happen to me. That's the most wonderful thing, because it should be the most obvious. Yeah, sure as death. And yet, we can't fathom that. We don't point this direction. So, consciousness and Krishna consciousness. So, back to the beginning about why we agree and we disagree with these statements that people like Huckabee would say, that we're taking God out of the schools. We have to put God back in the schools. So I propose, like they would, that we have to put God not just in the schools, but back in society, which means back in all of our minds. But that's not so easy. Also, that's not so easy. So Bhagavad Gita is about doing it. And it doesn't take a very enlightened, God-conscious society to not have members of it going around doing all the kinds of crazy things that they are today. Okay? If you had a society just basically in sattva gun, mode of goodness, they wouldn't do things like that. If you had a society that was more in the mode of rajagun, passion, they probably wouldn't do that either. But when you have a society which is primarily in the mode of tamagun, darkness, with a mixture of raja, passion, then you have a lot of trouble. So if we study Bhagavad Gita carefully, we will learn about the three gunas. Goodness, passion, ignorance. And we will learn about the symptoms. As a matter of fact, I'd like to read them to you, as Krishna describes in chapter 14. text 6 he says, Tattva Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashaka Anamayam Sukha Sangena Vatnati Jnana Sangena Chanakha. Krishna says, all sinless one, the mode of goodness, being purer than the others, is illuminating. It frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. And then he says, the mode of passion is born in unlimited desires and longings, O Samakunti. Because of this, the embodied living entity is bound to material field activities. Goodness means clarity and peacefulness. Passion means very active, unlimited desires, longings. And also Navarta, melted mode of darkness, born of ignorance, is the delusion of all embodied living entities. The results of this mode are madness, indolence, and sleep, which bind the conditioned soul. So I was thinking how this fellow in Connecticut, and similar to the one in Aurora, both of them are very, very bright people. They get the top of their classes. They weren't idiots. But yet they were obviously very troubled. I would like to propose that one of the reasons that very intelligent young people become troubled, as they are today, is because they may feel cheated. They may feel misled. They may feel that authorities have let them down. And most of all, they just may feel completely lost and hopeless. No purpose. Now, if you play it out, I don't know if there's any atheists in the crowd tonight, I doubt it, but if there are, they may be thinking, this guy just keeps on talking about just putting God in the picture and all the problems will be solved. Because, most atheists, humanists, they propose that religion and God is the whole problem. And that actually atheists are more inclined or more searching for a commonality amongst them. Is an equality, egalitarianism. It's something that we can all agree upon in peacefulness. But if you actually play that out, you really have to wonder, well, okay, even if that's possible, then what? What's the purpose? So you got a few years of whatever. Though I don't think you'd find that to be true. I don't think you'd find that to be true. I mean, some of the biggest culprits, violent slaughterers in the world were atheists, like Stalin and Hitler, and who's the fellow in Cambodia? What's his name? Millions and millions of his own people. So what I'm saying is that it's especially frustrating for someone who's not numbed out. See, when someone's a little bit bright and conscious, and this realization hits them, just like when I spend a lot of time at the campuses, right? I try to do it as much as possible. And I try to study, I talk to young people and try to study them. And I'm just amazed at how many of them are just going on like on the conveyor belt, and not really thinking about, they're getting into how many tens of thousands in debt, and the economy is on a fiscal cliff. I mean, I have a good devotee friend in town who's something like $400,000 in debt in dental school. And that fiscal cliff is like, getting pretty close, and they just think it's going to be better. I'm going to make it. I'm going to be one of the 1%. And every once in a while, I meet a student who kind of pierces through that and not in denial, and really thinks about it and realizes, and wow, do they get shocked. They get really depressed. And most of them would just drop out or become suicidal. See? So when people are really bright, they can't do that. And then all of a sudden, they crack. Where most other people, they have a way of numbing out. This is tamagun, mode of ignorance. Sleep, intoxication, that's what they numb out. We like to numb out with the sleep, we numb out with the intoxication. First thing in the morning, caffeine, cigarette. You see them outside as soon as they get a break at work, outside in a patio, cigarette, coffee, what do they call those things, the 5-minute, 5-hour things, right? Now they got a big bad rap because a lot of people are dying, drinking too many of those things. So, we don't want to numb out. And we have to face it. We want to numb out. Krishna gives us the species. He gives us the bodies. In the mode of tamagun, if you don't want to think about things, you just want to be in denial, you just want to stay far away from everything and just get in your own little world, don't think about anybody else. There's 8 million species of animals who are perfectly suited for numbing out. No conscience. Animal bodies are even better for having sex, for eating, for sleeping. They have no conscience. It tells them they have to do something else. Maybe I'm wasting my life. They have no alarm clocks, nothing. So that isn't the way we want to go. So we have to become more and more and more conscious until we become super conscious. God conscious, Krishna conscious. That's what human life is about. Tattva Brahma Jigyasa. And every time we slide into numbness, it's harder to pick ourselves up. We have to go back again through that hole where we just slip down from. So, talking about animals. We have a few more minutes and there's something else I wanted to read too. Because one of the major ways which we numb our consciousness is in relation to other species. As it used to be 100, 200 years ago with different color skin, the red in America, blacks, slaves were brought from Africa. And then the women, and gradually, the women are winning their rights, and the blacks are winning their rights, and now the next frontier is animals. So, first of all, I want to read a statement by Pythagoras, the famous, mathematician from Greece, ancient Greece. Pythagoras wrote, "As long as men massacre animals, they will kill each other. Indeed, he who sows the seeds of murder and pain cannot reap joy and love." And how many times you've read, those of you who've read Prabhupada's books, how many times he makes that point? That as long as we go on killing the animals, slaughtering, especially mother and father, cow and bull, that two things happen. The karma comes, very heavy karma from killing a mother and father, very heavy. So now they're killing a mother and father with their guns. And numbed out. finally he's one of the, somebody did, I just read today a headline, somebody to do with the movie business, I believe, an actor, or having to do with the actual video games, admitted that, yeah, all this violence on movies and video games plays out in society. It's taken us 100 years of studying psychology to figure that out. And whatever goes in the mind stays in there and starts turning around, and it comes out eventually. So, this is very, very important. So many times, Prabhupada said, make this connection between what we're doing to the animals and what we end up doing to each other. Pythagoras saw this almost 2,000 years ago. And it's just common sense. And it's actually been shown by research. Yeah. They go back in the lives of many of these mass killers and they see how they used to torture animals when they were kids and like that. It numbs you. Violence, pain of others, denying that or perpetrating that numbs you out to the feelings of others who may be on your own species or even very close to you. It's really a no-brainer. So, this is an article by our Dr. Sahadev Das from Gujarat, from a book he wrote, Animals, We Feel Just Like You. It's just a few paragraphs. I am astonished that, quote, scientists are surprised that animals may actually have feelings and emotions. Perhaps the blinders are at last beginning to come off. It's long been the human animal that is devoid of emotion. Not the animals, the human animal that's devoid of emotion. I think that in 100 years people will look back and wonder that we could not recognize animals' feelings and view it as we now view historical figures. We thought the Native Americans had no souls, or that slavery was God's plan. This blindness is the same factor that prevents us from recognizing the humanity of those with whom we go to war. In order to continue to believe in a moral world that conveniently works to our advantage, we have to devalue those whom we exploit or kill for resources. Of course, animals are sentient beings. It is only the desire to maximize profit and fill the supermarket shelves which has led to animals being kept in abysmal concentration camp-style factory farms. And by the way, that means all factory farms, not just pig farms and chicken farms and beef farms, but dairy farms as well. If you don't believe me, go see. When you go to the store to get your milk, you should know where it's coming from. If you don't, it's part of this numbness I'm talking about. It's not, numbness and Krishna conscious advancement don't go together. Here they lead, in these factory farms, a bleak, short life without natural sunlight, food pumped full of growth hormones and kept in unnatural conditions. The journey to the slaughterhouse entails further suffering, packed onto lorries, shamelessly squashed together, and often shipped abroad for slaughter in foreign arbiters, where their short lives are ended in barbaric ways. It is human arrogance that has led us to wrongly assume that only we are capable of emotions. Anyone remember the article I just sent out about India becoming number what?
Number one beef exporter in 2013.
2013, it's poised to become the number one beef exporter in the world. The land of Dharma.
ahimsa,
Yeah,
land of ahimsa.
right. So, hmm? And it's the slippery slope you don't jump, it's not like a cliff. It starts one step at a time, one step at a time. We want to become numb, a little dull, and then another step, another step, another step, another step. And before you know it, yeah, what's the problem? That's what they're for. They're just dumb creatures. Machines that move around and make some noise, but there's no emotions there. Animals love, feel pain, joy, and depression like us. What a shame that the meat industry chooses to ignore this fact in the name of profit. How egocentric of humans to think we are the only beings who can think, feel, and bond with others. As the, quote, dominating species, we have a responsibility to care for and protect the entire planet, including the other animals. Those who describe animals as not having any thoughts or feelings come closer to that description than the animals they're trying to describe. I find it enormously puzzling that extreme suffering only gets widely questioned if it is the suffering of members of the human species. This is the point. This is the point. People are so upset, and they're so angry and what have you, and all the emotions they're feeling now. When someone, and even President Obama, as he's giving a speech, and he will happen to wipe the tear from his eyes when he's talking about the condolences for the children in Connecticut. Huh? But there's nothing for the animals. Nothing at all. Unless it's, of course, your pet dog. And someone takes it, he'll go to jail. Someone was driving in Georgia, moving van, packed up in the back. He had his pet dog in the cab, creating a fuss. Put him in the back for an hour, maybe 90 degrees. Stops, side of the road somewhere or another. Somebody found out, and they called the police. Dog's dead. Put him in jail. What is the logic? Can anybody tell me what is the logic of that? Someone accidentally leaves his dog in the back of the van. He gets a big fine, he's going to jail. Billions and billions and billions of animals every day in the slaughterhouses. Nobody says anything. What is the logic? Can anybody tell me one piece of logic? Am I crazy? It's total insanity. So what kind of people do you think are going to live in this kind of insanity? Insane persons.